That's for sure. Even Aaron Yoder down there is looking good.
There we go.
Just hit got it.
Yeah, there we go. So if you can hit got it, and this will allow other people to watch the program at a later date.
Gotta look as good as Ted Kessinger, halfway there.
Hi, Coach Yoder. Lori Dink, our technology engineer this evening, will be watching the chat ledger for us and sharing some websites and email addresses with you as we go. Feel free to offer suggestions for future Zoom programs and list your email, please, so we can get in touch with you. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the 15th president of Bethany College, Dr. Beth Malk. And Dr. Malk will be joining us by video this morning. So let me share my screen and we'll get Dr. Malk up. Hold on just a second.
Everybody else on there recording, I hit continue and I'm not doing anything.
You're looking good. That's what counts, Marv.
You're good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Swede Sports Show. We are so delighted that you are joining us this evening for our inaugural event. We're hoping to continue this, and we're hoping to be able to bring to you so many things about these sporting activities here on Bethany College's campus, and also probably to spend some time reminiscing about what used to be. We're excited this evening to have Coach K, our own Ted Kessinger, talk a little bit about sports and probably especially football here on Bethany College's campus. So welcome, sit back. I have another event this evening, but I will be looking forward to being able to join you for the second event. So thank you so much, and we appreciate everything that you've done for Bethany College. Go Swedes.
Thank you.
We appreciate Dr. Malk's words as she couldn't be here tonight, but she wanted to bring a greeting to you. So thank you, President Beth, for your greeting. We appreciate that. It is indeed a privilege following individuals with us this evening. Interviewing Coach K this evening is Brad Reynolds, a 1987 graduate of Bethany College and a close personal friend of mine. Brad currently teaches elementary PE and coaches middle school football and baseball at Douglas, Kansas.
Not that much more.
During his time at Bethany, Brad coached with Coach K, and we've had a lot of fun putting this interview together for you this evening. If you don't know Brad Reynolds, you need to get to know him because he's one of the best. So thanks to Brad for his time this evening. And our other individual needs no introduction. He's responsible for building one of college football's strongest dynasties of all time that began in 1976 and lasted through the 2003 season at Bethany College.
Sound like
Ted Kessinger, or Coach K, to all of us that know him, won a lot of football games during his time as the head coach of Bethany Swedes. He's much more than just a coach. To myself and hundreds of others who've been a part of his program, K continues to be a mentor, a friend, and a spiritual leader to us all.
that's my cousin there.
It is my distinct pleasure to introduce Coach Ted Kessinger to our program this evening. Welcome, Coach K. Brad.
Thanks a lot, Bill. We're ready for Brad to ask some questions and we'll
All right.
move right on.
Thanks, Bill. Hey, I'm honored, and it's definitely a privilege to be able to do this. And I know I speak on behalf of all of us that have coached and played during the Kessinger years and that know you, Coach, that we've been blessed and we are better because of it. So I know I speak for all of us here. We appreciate you being here and we appreciate you so much. So, Coach, my first question, maybe not everybody here knows, but how did you end up in Lindsborg? Why did you choose Lindsborg, or why did Lindsborg choose you?
Well, that's an interesting question, Brad, but that goes back to a Fellowship of Christian Athletes camp in Colorado where I met a man that was on the board at Bethany College, and that was Bill Carlson. And my wife and I visited with he and his wife, and he talked about Bethany, and as assistant coach, I said, hey, if you ever hear of a head coaching position opening up, just let me know. And about 2 years later, he gave me a call. I actually called my wife. I was out recruiting for Augustana College in Sioux Falls, South Dakota at that time. And when I went home, she said, we're going to Lindsborg. And I said, now, wait a minute, Lindsborg. And I know she didn't really want to move. But then she mentioned that Bill had called and then Arvin Hahn had showed interest in. That's the way it started out with Bill Carlson. And actually, it started out at a Fellowship of Christian Athletes camp.
Awesome. So what was your first impression when you rolled into Lindsborg?
I'll tell you that's an easy question, Brad, because it's the people. Just like in coaching, the relationships with our players was so important. That made a difference in the good fortune we had. But I had a chance to, when I came on campus, I met President Arvin Hahn, and I'll tell you, he and Beth Mock are probably the best presidents that I've been associated with over my years here in Lindsborg at Bethany. I met him, but then a guy by the name of Ron Rolander took us on a tour of town. Then I met Leon Birch, who's a close friend. We recruited together like crazy. And then George Stevens, the athletic director. So basically, Brad, it was the good people that I met. And also those who met with my wife, Becky Anderson, and her husband, Judge Carl B. Anderson. It's the people that made a difference in our appreciation of Lindsborg and Bethany College.
Yeah, and I'll make a little plug here, Coach. You just released a book that is kind of your, I don't know, I guess you'd call it your memoirs, right? And a lot of those early years, there's a chapter devoted to that. Bill, do we have any, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Do we have a way, if anybody's interested in that, how can we get a copy of that book? Can we still get an autographed copy, Coach?
Yeah, sure. That's the only thing you want, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely, Brad. And matter of fact, in the chat, if people will click on the chat at the bottom to the right side, it's how you can get the book, and it has Coach Kessinger's email. And then Lori has also typed in the Google site for ordering a book. And and if they have any questions, all they have to do is get a hold of us here in the advancement office. We can steer them the right direction if they can't
Well,
get into that tonight.
thank you, Bill. And Brad, let me tell you a little bit about that book. It has some therapy involved with it. Is if you can't sleep at night, start reading it and you'll fall asleep for sure. I'll tell you, that'll put you to sleep. But thanks a lot, Brad. It was interesting. I was writing about you men and how much you impacted my life, and it was a great experience. That's what happens in retirement when you're looking for something to do.
So, Coach, you brought basically one person here with you when you first came to Bethany. That was Coach Sambo. And a couple weeks ago at Hillingsfest, he was inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame here at Bethany. Was a part of 7 conference championships and 3 more in baseball. Just share a little bit with us. How did Coach Sambo end up coming along with him? What was your connection there?
Well, that's interesting because we both went to Augustana College, Sioux Falls. When he was a freshman, I had just graduated and we had crossed paths. And basically we had just crossed paths because I had just come back from a tryout with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and we just met. And then at that point in time, I went to the University of South Dakota to get my master's degree. Gary then became the quarterback at Augustana College, Sioux Falls. Okay, then after getting my master's at the University of South Dakota and helping coaching wrestling and football there, I went to Augustana College in Rock Island, Illinois. So we had 2 Augustanas here. I was trying not to confuse you with those. When I was coaching at Augustana College in Rock Island, I was the defensive coordinator. We played Augustana Sioux Falls. Matter of fact, it got on Sports Illustrated. And Gary was the quarterback for Augustana Sioux Falls. And Gary was a very good quarterback, but let me tell you, the quarterback that we had at Augustana Rock Island was Ken Anderson, who went on and played for the Bengals. Gary was the best quarterback on the field. Kenny was just a freshman, but Gary was the best quarterback. So we followed him there. Then the head coach at Augustana Rock Island and I decided we were going to move to Augustana Sioux Falls after 5 years, and we coached there for 7 years. We attempted to hire Gary as one of our coaches, but he was working on his master's degree and it didn't work out that well for us to hire him. When I took the job in 1976, I drove down through Sioux City, Iowa, heading down to Lindsborg, and I stopped at Sioux City East High School, where he was a coach and relatively new coach, nice home. Things were going so well for him. And I asked him, I said, Gary, would you come down to Bethany and be my offensive coordinator? And Gary said, you know, there's no way possible that's going to happen. Well, we talked a little bit. And then he finally came down. And he came down and joined me in 1976 as our offensive coordinator. And we've been friends and teammates in the past ever since.
That's great. I know any of us that played and know Coach Sambo that, you know, I said this at the alumni banquet, you felt like you'd really made it when Coach Sambo finally barked personally at you, you know. But boy, it was good. We learned a lot from Coach Sambo. So thanks for convincing him to come along and to join you. So Coach
Brad, too, Coach Sambo was responsible for one day we were sitting in the office, I should say. And we said, we got to do something with our offense. And he said, let's not put a back in the backfield. And that goes back into the middle 80s. And that's when we came out with we didn't know what to call it. It was kind of a zoo. So that's what we call it, zoo. So we came out with that. And nowadays you see that in college, high school, and professional football. But it wasn't very complicated. We told the quarterback, even the players that played for me could have picked this up. Marv, I don't know if you would have been able to pick this up, but all the players could. We just told the quarterback, you throw it to the receiver that puts his hand on his hip. And I'll never forget the game against Kansas Wesleyan when the defensive coordinator, Bob, you'll appreciate this, he called timeout 3 times in a row trying to figure out what we were doing. But Gary was behind that. Gary is the instigator of that zoo offense.
Yeah, and you know, as a player, it just made the game fun. You'd pull that out of nowhere, and we didn't use it every game, but it sure was fun when we pulled it out. So you kind of walked into my next question here. You know, I was going to ask you about it. You got some old coaches on here. We want to know, of course, the secret to success. And we know you, Coach K. We know you're going to say, oh, it's the people you surrounded yourself with. It's the coaches and the players. But I'm going to ask you to put that aside for just a little bit. And you've already answered this a little bit, but talk about the success that you had, that we had, and in terms of X's and O's, and maybe even just facilities and how we were able to be ahead of the curve back then.
Well, again, I'm going to go against your direction, because the bottom line, and all of us know this, is based on the coaches that you have and the players. We were blessed to have those individuals, a part of our program. But I guess it all started at the University of South Dakota, which was a Division II NCAA team at that point in time, working with that coaching staff and getting some ideas. Then when we went to Augustana Rock Island, they were open enough to let us travel around to various schools, universities, and pick up some ideas. Then the same thing happened at Augustana Sioux Falls. And then when we came here, our connections were, well, mainly with the University of Nebraska. Coach Tom Osborne was the head football coach there. And those individuals had given us some ideas on how to develop the offense and the defense that we wanted to. Gary was a specialist in understanding the offense. My responsibility initially was working with the defense and make some adjustments along that line. And then we had other coordinators take over those responsibilities. But I would say the knowledge that I picked up from colleagues in the profession at all levels, And one thing great about the coaching profession, we all stick together. It makes no difference if you're high school, college, or a pro coach, you help each other out. And these coaches really helped me out to get started. So we adopted their style of play offensively and defensively. Plus the advantage of recruiting. I really enjoyed recruiting. Coming to Bethany College, Arvin Hahn said my job was coaching football, and he gave me the opportunity to recruit. So I was able to recruit all over the country based on the experience in the places where I had been before. So that's pretty much just in a quick nutshell to answer that question.
I remember when I made my campus visit, I sat down, you had that little blue form there with my name on it. And there was a 3 up there in the top corner. And I thought, wow, I'm his number 3 choice. That's pretty cool. So,
Yeah, I don't think it was a 3, Brad. I think all of you people were 1 in my
oh
heart.
yeah, we were all a 1+, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we know better than that.
Yeah.
Hey, talk a little bit, you know, I know for me and I'm probably, again, speaking for a lot of the guys sitting here, as the longer I coach, I find that my purpose for coaching changes. You know, when I was young, I wanted to win conference championships. I wanted to make it to the state tournament and those kinds of things. But I know my purpose has changed. Talk a little bit about just how that changed over the years, and just what is your purpose? What was your purpose in coaching?
You know, I thought about that over the years, especially in retirement. You look back and say, why were you in coaching and why did you stay with it as long as you did? And I look back when I enjoyed the game of football. I enjoyed it as a player. I enjoyed it as assistant coach. Fortunately, in those years, we had good fortune, so that makes a difference. And I really felt good about it. The longer that I've been in coaching, though, I look back and I say, hey, to me, it was a ministry. The most important thing was really caring about our players. You players probably remember you had to fill out a sheet dealing with your academic, your athletic, your social, your spiritual, and your career goals. That's what it's all about. That's the depth. So I look at the purpose of my coaching in the past, and I don't think it ends in 2003 when I retired, because I think it's a part of today. And I say that just to give you this example. I've been blessed with the opportunity to marry some of our players, like Nick Vitale. I had a chance to be involved in his marriage. Had the opportunity at the other end of the scale to be involved with the funerals of some of our ball players. So I look back at that and say, my purpose was the ministry, to pass the word around about the good Lord and how the Lord Jesus Christ made a difference in my life, and definitely, hopefully, it'd make a difference in their life. And I remember 2 experiences when I was coaching, first at Augustana. As the head wrestling coach and the head football coach, I came home one evening and I said, hey, I can't take it anymore. I can't handle this. And I fell on my knees, and I really felt that God stepped into it. Then when I was coaching, I had an experience at a crusade in which I really felt the Spirit involved. So to answer your question, I apologize for a long answer like this, but I really believe the purpose has not stopped. It was to care and love and be a part of my players and assistant coaches' lives.
Thanks, Coach. So last question for you here would be, how hard was the decision when you decided to finally retire? How hard a decision was that, and why did you make the decision when you did?
Surprisingly, that wasn't a tough decision. After our 2003 season, I take off in recruiting. I went down to a high school in Kansas, and one of my former players who played for me in 1976 was a teacher there. So I stopped in and knocked on the door of the classroom. I can remember that to the point today, and that has to be a long time ago. Knocked on the door, and he opened up, and I said, Mike, how are you doing? And he said, Coach, I'm really hurting. And I get choked up when I think about this. And he said, I'm really hurting. I went back home and I read a book called Purpose Driven Life. And that said, hey, that's it. That's time for me to retire. It's time for me to branch out in other directions, and that would be to stay in touch with my players and coaches like you coaches and players know right now how we keep track of each of you. That's a blessing for me to send information to you and a blessing for you to hear from me. But the reason was I believe it was God's plan that I went into coaching, and I believe it was God's plan that I took the next step out.
Thanks, Coach. Hey, we're gonna wrap this up. I'm sure we'll hear from you a little bit more, but I just want to say on behalf of the players sitting here, the coaches, the people who've coached with you, the people that have known you, and I'm confident that I speak for all of us when I say thank you for the integrity that you've always brought, not just to the game, but maybe more importantly, to our lives as well. You know, I think I speak again for everybody. I never heard you cuss. You seldom raised your voice. You were a man of your word. You genuinely cared more about who we were than what we could do for you. And I've always appreciated that. And you were sincere in everything. You praised us in the good things, but you weren't afraid to call us out when we did things we shouldn't be doing as well. And most of all, that you allowed God to use you and make an impact on my generation for sure. And I can assure you that all of us that are sitting here that are coaching, whether it's high school or college or just our kids' rec teams, whatever it might be, I guarantee that we've taken a hold of your legacy and the life lessons that you've taught us. And we're passing that on to our own children, passing that on to our teams, to our players. And for that, we're always going to be grateful, Coach K. We love you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Brad. Thanks, Coach. That was awesome. And Coach, I think Brad summed that up very, very well. And we have a lot of your players, a lot of your former young men on this broadcast tonight. So that's really cool. And more are going to get to see it because we're recording it. So, but ditto. You know, I remember I was a student assistant coach in 84 and 85, and coach came to me the year before when I was walking across campus, and he said, "Hey, Billy," he said, "I know you want to go into teaching and coaching. Do you want to coach football?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I'd like to." And he said, "Well, why don't you consider being a student assistant coach for me?" And so I got to be under Coach Sambo. I coached the Z-backs, and how fun was that to be under Gary Sambo and Coach K? But I remember we were sitting in a meeting, and one of the coaches, we'd lost a couple games. This was in the 84 season. And we lost a couple games in a row. And one of the student assistant coaches said, "Coach, how are you sleeping at night?" And he said, "You know, I sleep like a baby every night. I wake up crying every 2 hours." No, you did actually say that, Coach.
Yeah, really good.
I wanted to bring that up. That's good. So Coach K and Brad, thank you. And Coach is going to have a chance to share a little bit more later in the program too with us. So, but what a treat for Swede Nation. We appreciate that. Next up, we want to visit with Jordan Valentine, who is a senior student athlete at Bethany, and she participates in volleyball. She's the only returning starter this year on the Swede volleyball team. So they're very young, but they are continuing to get better and better. So let's watch a video that features Jordan. Give me just a moment here to get it loaded, and we'll do that.
We're in the renovated social science building here on the campus of Bethany College, and lots of improvements have been made. We had a ribbon cutting a couple weeks ago, and wanted to interview Jordan this morning. So Jordan, tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am a senior. I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I've been here all 4 years, and I've absolutely loved Bethany since the second I got on campus.
Awesome. Jordan, what brought you to Bethany College?
So I actually got recruited here to play sports, so I was playing basketball and volleyball. Then I came here, and I came on my visit, and I absolutely fell in love with the place. Everyone tells you when you come, like, on your visits, you're gonna, like, know which school is right for you. And the second I got on campus, I knew this is where I was supposed to be.
Awesome, awesome. What would you say have been maybe one or two highlights, the high points of your career at Bethany College?
Yeah, so definitely one, we played K-Dub my sophomore year, and we won in 5, and it was the first time we had beat K-Dub in so long, so that was so fun, and like, we had a full student section, so there's a lot of energy. And then secondly would just be meeting the people I've met here. Making connections with the community and just growing in such a small town is really fun.
Good, good. So Jordan, what are you going to take with you from Bethany College as you graduate this year?
Definitely the relationships I've made. You meet a lot of cool people here. You make a lot of friends, and even like older people you meet in town, you get to know them really well. So just taking those connections and building on those.
So Jordan, what's in store for you as you leave Bethany College this year?
Yeah, so I'm already working part-time at Camp Tomashinga, and once I graduate in December, I'm taking a full-time job there. So I'll move out there in May and work at camp.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's the Lutheran Church camp for this region of the ELCA Lutheran Church.
Correct.
So hopefully Bethany has prepared you well
It
for that
has,
next
for
step
sure.
in your journey.
Yeah.
Good, good, good. It's been a pleasure to be with Jordan Valentine, senior student athlete here at Bethany College. Was an attender at the senior night volleyball the other night. The Swedes beat Bethel in 5. It was exciting. So Jordan, thank you for this time. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right.
We appreciate Jordan's time. I'm going to tell you, I hope you heard her reference to beating K-Dub. So it hasn't changed, folks. Beating K-Dub is still a big thing around here. And so our volleyball team is getting better and better as the season goes on. I think they started the season 0-6, but they've climbed up to about the middle of the conference now. So our volleyball program is doing a nice job. I have another video that I want to play for you. We also want to take a peek at the newly renovated Wallerstead Social Science Building. We hope you enjoy the walkthrough with Matt Lucas, our videographer, who is a sophomore here at Bethany College. So let's go to that video as well. Give me just a second to get over there. We want to thank Matt Lucas for his excellent work with the video camera there. So Matt does a lot of good things for us in our office for sure. Our next guest does amazing work here at Bethany College. Laura Moreno is our athletic director, and she'll be sharing an update on fall sports at Bethany College and a very special interview with one of our coaches. Laura, thank you for joining us this evening, and thanks for sharing.
Thanks so much, Bill. Appreciate it. And Jeff, certainly thank you for your idea and your work. I know we've met several times over the last, I don't know, month or so. So I appreciate everybody's work and Coach K and Lori, the IT specialist we got going on. So we appreciate everybody for your help. So certainly October is a busy time of year for us. We're in crossover season where fall sports are still going, wrapping up in the next couple weeks, but winter sports are also kicking off. So there's about 8 or 9 or 10 teams kind of all playing right now. So it's a busy time of year, but an exciting time of year. Men's basketball started off 2-0, had 2 big road wins, including one that was against an overtime win against Wayland Baptist, who's in the NAI top 25. receiving votes in that. So a great start for them. Women's basketball officially opens their season Saturday against Columbia College here at home. It's a top 25 team, so it'll be a good challenge out of the gate. They actually go to Emporia State tomorrow for a scrimmage, but will officially open up Saturday. Wrestling also opens up their season Saturday at Ottawa. They'll face both Ottawa and Midland, so they're getting rolling. Golf was certainly a bright spot for us this fall. Men's golf started off the season ranked 24th in the top 25. They won their last 2 fall tournaments, so they took first in 2 out of their 5 tournaments. In those 2 tournaments where they took first, they beat the number 10, number 12, and number 14 ranked teams in the country. So we look forward to seeing what they're going to do in spring season, and certainly expect them to climb up in the top 25. Women's golf, out of their 5 tournaments, finished runner up in 2 out of the 5. So certainly bright spots ahead for them as well. Volleyball, as Bill mentioned, they're certainly kind of in a rebuilding year, got a lot of young faces, started off pretty slow, but have really started to hit their stride. They're actually playing right now in a non-conference matchup outside my door here against Central Christian. We're up 1-0, so that's good, but they've won 3 of their last 6 and are still have about 3 conference matches left and can really make some moves with that. Women's soccer is in a similar spot also, a lot of new faces. They started off slow as well. They start quite a few freshmen. They've since picked up speed. They've tied twice and won 3 games in their last 6 games. So certainly kind of hitting their stride as well. Men's soccer is the opposite. They started off 5-1, but have kind of hit a rough patch. They've still competed very well. Had really tight matches with the number 3 team in Oakwood and the number 20 ranked team, McPherson, both in our conference. Football's in the midst of a transition, certainly. A lot of new faces for them as well, very young, a lot of new faces. They're just continuing to work through that. They go to Friends this weekend. It's a really good matchup for us, so we look forward to seeing what they'll do this weekend. Cross country seen improvements from all their runners in each of their outings. KCAC championships are coming up November 6th, and that's hosted by McPherson. Esports, which is a new sport for us here at Bethany. We started it last year. We had actually planned that this year would be our first year competing in esports, but we actually did compete some last year as well. So esports is actually now sponsored by the KCAC. There's 6 conference schools that have esports. For those of you that don't know what esports is, it's video games, but they've seen a lot of potential in its teams. As Bill said, it's always good to beat Kansas Wesleyan, which esports has done 5 times so far this year. Valorant has beat Kansas Wesleyan, Overwatch has beat Kansas Wesleyan, and they've beat them 3 times in Call of Duty as well. I'm looking at the chat. Darren, yes, soccer games are played at the stadium. You are correct on that. So they're played on the turf at the stadium. And then tennis also competed this fall, about 3 to 4 different matches, gained a lot of valuable experience. Have some new faces, but also mixed with a couple returners. So look forward to seeing what they'll do this spring as well. So that's kind of the update in terms of all the teams we've got going on right now. Very excited to introduce Abdel Vasquez. He's the head coach of Bethany College Swede softball. Softball's coming off a historic season last year. They had the Final 4 finish in the NEI World Series. That was the best softball finish for any Bethany softball team, as well as KCAC conference team. The Swedes finished 2nd in the KCAC regular season, which earned them a bid to the opening round. They went down to Oklahoma to the University of Science and Arts. And the way opening round works for softball, there's 10 host sites with 4 teams at each site, and the winner of each of those rounds, that makes up your final 10 that go to the World Series. So softball ended up beating USAO, who was number 3 at the time, I believe. They beat them in the opening game, and then went 3-0 to win their opening round site and get to Columbus, Georgia for the World Series. At the World Series, they went 3-2, eventually got knocked out by the eventual national champion. So they did finish 4th. That was the best finish of any Bethany College team since men's basketball's national runner-up finish back in the early 2000s. So Abdel is a Bethany graduate. He was a catcher for the baseball team here. He served as an assistant softball coach for 3 years before getting the opportunity now as head coach. So Abdul, we'll turn it over to you. Talk some about last year's historic team. What really set that group apart that led to such a phenomenal season?
For sure, the leadership that we had so a lot of talent, right? But the leadership, I think, was the big part that set us apart, right? After that, we had a rough start, right? So we were having a rough start in the beginning of the year, right? We right after a game against Sterling in a doubleheader, we were sitting at 9-24, and at that point, everybody got together. Everybody started talking about it. All the big faces on the team, right? All the leaders make sure that they talk to the team and make sure they know how they felt about the team and how they felt that they needed to perform. And after that, everything clicked together. After that, everybody started meshing together. Everybody started having that confidence that they didn't have, and that leadership for sure was a big part of that success that we had last year for sure.
Very good. What do you feel was the best memory for last year's team, or what were some of the highlights? If you certainly can't pick one, what were some of the highlights you think that stuck out most, maybe for you as coach, as well as the team?
For sure, for the team, we have a couple, but I got two that are really, really big for us. It was because of the heart that they showed the team. First one was against Avila. We had to go to Avila to make sure that we won to win that game, right, to secure that second spot in the conference. And we were down 1-0 against one of the best pitchers in the KCAC with 2 outs, runners on first and second. 0-2 count against one of our best hitters, and she pulled through. Sierra Flores, she pulled through with a double that got us the lead. And after that, Samantha Quesada, our pitcher at the time, she finished it out. And after that, right, we finished second on the conference. So that was a really big win for us. So it's something, right, that showing that heart and never giving up until the last moment, right, until the last out is called. It was pretty amazing to see for sure. After that one, pulling that win against USAO in the opening round, it was a big one for sure as well. Morgan Russell, our senior catcher as well, she pulled through for sure. So having that clutch moment for sure, it was a big deal for us as well.
Yeah, and to kind of give everybody some context of the Avila game, softball traveled to Avila kind of in probably the first third of the conference season. Had a doubleheader scheduled, got a late start due to some weather issues, thunderstorms, played the first game. The second game wasn't able to be played. They don't have lights where their field is, so we didn't play that second game. Just like the game got started late because of weather. So we pretty much left it until the end. Avila was about a 3-hour time, so we left it until the end. Just kind of saying if we have to play that game because it matters, we will. But if we don't, it ends up not mattering at all, then we're not going to go all the way back up there. Well, it ended up mattering because if in that game we get second. If we lose that game, we get third. We won that game and got second. Had we not had the second place in the regular season, we wouldn't have had the bid to the national playoffs. So it literally came down to the last out and the last strike. And I remember watching the live stream in our living room, like going nuts, watching how that played out. So just some context for really how crucial that was for the team. And actually the irony of it is Sierra is now a graduate transfer working on her master's and getting to play her final year at USAO. And Abdul, there was a pretty big group of seniors that graduated. I know you've referenced some of them. Talk to them about this year's squad and how the team is meshing with some new faces and maybe what you're most excited for and what are some areas you'll specifically focus on leading up to the season.
Yeah, so for sure, we have a pretty new faces, right? We have a lot of freshmen, right? And we got a couple transfers as well, right? But again, even though we graduated some great players, right? So we also kept a couple too, right? So we have the freshman of the year coming back, Kayla Egley, right? Our co-player of the year, so it was Sierra Flores, right? She moved on, right? But we have on first team as well, Kayla Egley. She received first team, right? She's going to be coming back to us, right? As a second team player as well. We have Liliana Martinez, our right fielder, right? So we have another person that is going to be really big for this year as well. And then we had an honorable mention on Melinda Crady as well from last year, right? That all these players, we think that they can improve for sure. So we be seeing a better season from them as well. So it's going to be something really good to have for sure. And obviously finishing where we finished, we managed to get a couple of big transfers as well. That's going to help this team, right, to keep building and keep moving forward for sure.
Very good. Last question. Talk about the recruitment process. How do you really recruit prospective student athletes? And, maybe talk about how you as a Bethany alum yourself, how that helps you in the recruitment process or play the recruitment process.
So it for sure helps a lot, right? Because more than anybody else, right, we can relate to them, right? We went through it. We know how Bethany works. We know the community that Bethany is around for sure, right? That community was a big one for sure. Right after we came back from the World Series, right? Everybody received us here, and I think that was one of the other highlights that we had for sure. That really meant a lot for us as well. So having that for sure and that relatable situation, it really helps us a lot to recruit. Also in our coaching staff, right? I'm not the only alumni, right? We have Johnny Rodriguez as well. That he graduated on 2019 as well. So the next year that I graduated, and we also added Samantha Quesada, which was our pitcher last year as a pitching coach. So they do bring a lot to the table for softball. So it's something really good to have, and also having everybody being an alumni, right? It's something really big for this program for sure.
Very good. Well, thanks so much, Abdil, for joining tonight, and a big thanks to Jeff for kind of being the mastermind behind this event, and thanks to Bill and Coach K and everybody for giving us the opportunity to talk.
Absolutely. Good job, Laura. Coach Abdil, good luck this year.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to seeing what spring brings. So
thank you.
Thanks for being at Bethany and your work at Bethany. Laura, you as well. Thank you for all you do for our athletic department. So just for a quick moment, I'd like to give you a little bit of an update from the advancement office here at Bethany College. We at Bethany College are very grateful for the $3.3 million gift by the Roy Adonis Applequist Foundation that has funded the complete renovation of Warner Hall. New AC, heating throughout the building, completely new bathroom and shower fixtures in every suite, new lighting, a complete overhaul for the building. But the most important thing is that this gift by the Applequists has allowed Bethany College the financial clout to pursue funding grants from other foundations, such as a $1 million grant from the Sunderland Foundation and a $1 million grant from the Maybe Foundation, following a successful $1.5 million challenge grant that was completed this past fiscal year. Following the completion of renovating Warner Hall, Gregory Hall will undergo a similar renovation next year. So great improvements are underway at Bethany College. Obviously, you're tuned in this evening because of your love for Bethany College and Coach K, and we appreciate you joining us tonight. I want to invite you to engage with Bethany College on any of our social media outlets, including our college website, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, our YouTube channel, and our newsletter on Constant Contact, which comes out as an email. We also invite you to join us on campus whenever you get back to Lindsborg. I would certainly be amiss. I know Darren Birch is with us this evening, and Darren's Bethany Backers campaign has been absolutely huge for Bethany College the last 2 years. So Darren, I know you're kicking off the 2022 version of Bethany Backers. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what Bill's talking about, Bethany Backers was an idea that I brought to the Alumni Council 2 years ago. And the purpose is to show the power of what small gifts can do, and also increase the percentage of alumni and friends who are giving to Bethany College in any amount. So the campaign is $50 a year to become a Bethany backer. Half of that money goes to the scholarship fund to fund scholarships on campus. I'm sure all of you got a scholarship to go to Bethany College. No, and this helps with that. So half of that money goes there. The other half of that money goes to fund a project, a special project that we vote on. 2 years ago, we upgraded the pit. We did some painting and upgraded some furniture in the pit. last year, we did an awesome project, a new outdoor basketball court behind Ash and beside Animarm. And that has been a huge hit. We even had enough money to include lighting for kids to play at night. It's been such a huge hit on campus and has really impacted student life. So if you do anything with Bethany as far as financially, the one thing I want you to do is become a Bethany backer. Start with $50, just $50 a year. Become a Bethany backer, get engaged, help us vote and select a project that will fund, that will enhance student life and give back to the college. So our goal this year is 1,000 people to become Bethany backers. Last year we had over 700. We need 1,000 this year, and I want to implore all of you to please join us and become a Bethany backer. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Darren. For those of you that knew Leon Birch, it's pretty easy to see that Darren is a chip off the old block. So something very similar to what Leon would have said. So Darren, thank you so much for what you've done for Bethany. Darren is a member of our alumni council as well. He's an officer on the alumni council and does so much for us here. So we so appreciate everything that you've done for Bethany and continue to do.
Hey, Bill.
If you do want to make a donation, a question, Brad?
Yeah, no, that's what I was just going to ask. What's the easiest way to go about that?
Absolutely. So if you want to do so online, you can go to our website, which is www.bethanylb.edu. And on the first page at the top, there's a give button, and that will allow you to give online. You can always mail your donation, whether it's Bethany backers or to the annual fund. You can mail that to us here at the advancement office, and that's at 335 East Swenson, Lindsborg, Kansas. Bethany College, of course. So if you have any questions about giving and would like to visit more with me, we will do so personally. So thank you for your support of Bethany College. Know that our students that are here now are enjoying the Bethany experience just as much as all of us did so many years ago. At this time, I want to turn the program over to Jeff Burke, a 1985 graduate of Bethany College. Jeff played football for Coach K during his years here at Bethany and now lives in Minnesota, works with Travelers Insurance. And you need to know that the reason we're doing this tonight is because this was Jeff's vision, and it led to this program airing this evening. We've had a lot of fun planning and carrying out this program. So Jeff, thanks for your vision, your idea, and thanks for making it a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Burke and Coach K.
Hey, thanks, Bill. Thanks, Laura, and thanks to everybody that participated today. And most of all, thanks to all the former players and fans and athletes that, taking time away from something else so that you could join us and engage or re-engage with Bethany College to hear what's going on campus and to kind of reunite with things and people that made a huge difference in our lives. I think about Coach K, and the thing I'll never forget about Bethany College that I passed on, not only from, the locker room, but to boardrooms and from the playing field to the field of life. And the one thing that Coach was always able to do for us that I think one of the things that I've carried on the most is that he always saw things in people. He saw more in people than they saw in themselves. And he helped them realize that through his belief in them and his challenges to them. And I think that's why he had so many successful players and players that went on to be great coaches and coach other great players. And his legacy will forever live on. So Coach K, much gratitude to you for all you've done. I know you're going to end in a prayer. And I just kind of remember, and you and I had talked about, could you also maybe end with one of those pep talks? Guys, those Friday night talks that Coach K, when we had to check in at 10 o'clock at night on Friday night to make sure we weren't out running around, and Coach K would get us in there. And maybe Marv was dressed up as a nurse or Newt, or God knows who they really were. But we knew Newt was looking after us. But Coach, will you end us in prayer tonight and then give us one of those pep talks for life?
Yes, let me just kind of reverse that and just kind of share a little bit first, and then I'll wrap it up with prayer. But, you know, as I sit here and I think of the past, and maybe that's because I'm 80 years old and, you know, long life and very much to be thankful for. I think about each of you and apologize, you know, maybe it's age. I don't remember getting choked up as much as I do nowadays when I was coaching. But when I think about what you all shared, whatever field or whatever sports you're involved with, and Laura with as athletic director, you touched my heart. You made a difference. We talked to our players in the past. I remember pre-games, we talked to them about making a difference, about giving their best shot, giving their best effort. We talked about the ideas you're going to walk, and all of us will. We'll walk on mountaintop experiences, and we'll walk through some valleys. We'll walk into situations where we feel good and where we also are hurt. Tonight, just this sharing time together has demonstrated some love and some caring and some concern, not just for us, but for Bethany College and all those friends and teammates and individuals that you've been associated with. That all made a difference. Let me give you one example that I think will hopefully cover what I'm trying to share from my heart and not doing a very good job of. But that is, I remember one game that we were playing. We were playing Friends University. There was 2 minutes left in the game. Friends was on the 1 yard line going in to score. They were up by 4 points. If they scored, we wouldn't have a chance. They fumbled the ball on the 1 foot line. Yes, the 1 foot line. We went out there and our players went out there with an attitude just like we talked about tonight. Caring, giving your best shot, getting after it. They drove 99 yards down that field in less than 2 minutes. And we had a wide receiver, wasn't very fast, short wide receiver, wasn't a great target. He beat a defensive halfback who I believe tried out for the Chiefs, beat him into the end zone. We threw a pass and we scored that game and we won it. The point was that we're all going to walk through battles in life. We're all going to walk through those difficult times. But the idea is you just don't stay knocked down. You get back up and you just keep going. That's what athletics is all about. Some people think it's just an activity, just a sport. To me, my friends, it's a classroom of life. And those of us who are blessed to coach or participate need to look at it. This is a way that we can share the love and concern for our players and their families who are walking through some valleys. I've had a chance, I know Nick is one of them, to marry some of our players. The toughest part, though, is to be a part of burying some of our players. Those are parts of life that we walk through. But the field of athletics prepare us for life as the best classroom. Let me close with a word of prayer. Lord, we just thank you for this night. We ask you to wrap your arm like you do around each and every one that we're touching their hearts tonight. And we ask you, oh Lord, to be with us as we take those walks, even those tough walks. In your name we pray. Amen. Thank you guys. God bless you. Take care. Hug your loved ones. Take the Lord with you.
Thanks, everybody. Hey, send us your ideas. Coach K's number's on there. Reach out and talk to Coach K. He loves to hear from you guys, so please do that. Bill, I know you're available if you have any other questions or ideas for who you want to hear from. We're thinking about high school coaches, successful college coaches out there. We want to hear how they're successful. And again, we want to bring back that victorious spirit to Bethany. Bill, thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Absolutely. And we would be amiss if we didn't point out that BD Kennedy is on here. BD, are you still awake?
There he is.
Yeah.
BD,
Yeah.
are you awake?
Yes. Yeah. I had muted my mic in case I snored.
So BD, it's almost 3 a.m. in Sweden. And BD, your team is taking on Italy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The European Championship, American Football Championship this weekend, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, BD, go get them.
Well, we're gonna do our best to beat it. I call them Italian Wesleyan. So
Do your
That's
best
awesome.
shot, PD.
we will. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's awesome. BD, we're proud of you, man.
Thanks, man.
That's Hall of Fame coach BD Kennedy.
Hall of Fame coach
Hey,
BD
great.
Kennedy. That's right. That's right.
Well, thank you.
Our next program will be after the first of the year sometime. Watch our social media outlets for more information. It has been our distinct pleasure to be with you this evening. We hope you've enjoyed the program. It was great to have Coach K on. Rokar Stokar to all of you from dear old Bethany. And I've got one more video I'm going to put up for you here as we go. This is the Bethany Choir, and they're going to take us out singing the alma mater. Thanks, folks. Have a great evening.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Good job.
Rokar Stokar.
Korhans Bolkar. Cherium. Latonia.
Go Swedes.
Take care, y'all.
Great job. Thanks for putting this on. This is awesome.
Thank
Good
you.
luck, BD.
Thank you all. Take care of yourself.
See you next time.
Good job, Ted.
Thank you, Aaron.
Good job, Bill.
Thanks, Aaron. Bobby,
Johnny
good.
Mac, Johnny Mac, you still there?
Sir.
Ah, there he is.
There he is.
Ted, this is Brent. Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Good job.
Thank you very much. Remember, you all made a difference.
You too, bud.
Thank you.
Great backdrop, coach.
Thank you.
Good job, Coach K. Thanks.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Marv, great seeing you too.
Coach Anderson, I still use your draw drill when you put us in the racquetball courts because we couldn't stop a draw and you made
Yeah,
us draw
that-
pictures.
I
I still
still
use that
talk
about every
about
other
that.
year.
Holy smokes, that was a drill of the half.
Yes, you were